All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Jeff at a new time. So most of you will get this and see the recording. So welcome. We have something in store for you that really is going to challenge your thinking. It's really going to push the envelope a little bit. And we've got an expert in here that's going to help us guide us and give us some information that we're going to need, particularly advocating for folks dealing with the healthcare system, uncomfortable, all kinds of things moving on. Just really interesting conversation coming up. I'm excited. Can't wait to get there. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the mission and vision of Conversations with Jeff, man, it's really simple. It's like what we're going to do, amplify the real comeback stories from folks like the guests that we have coming in from around the world, so people can understand that this comeback is a lifestyle. We either let it run us or we get in front of it. Right. And how do we get in front of the comeback as a lifestyle? We understand that we think of it differently. We go from setbacks to leadership thinking. We go from stinkin thinking to seeking the truth, auditing the message that we give ourselves. And man, here's the real hit. We go from isolation, taking folks from isolation all by themselves or on this journey, lost and not sure. And into community we go, right? One conversation at a time, one guest at a time. So we're talking about a movement, man. Get excited about that, right? Something that means something to people all over the world. We all can contribute. So anyway, talk more about that later. I want to get to our guest. It's going to be a great show. She's been on before. If you haven't seen the recording, boy, I'm going to see if I can find that and send that out again. Tremendous show. And today we're going to speak to something that's near and dear to her heart. She's an author, a mom, a speaker, very successful in the things that she's done over the years. And today we're going to really find out more about how to, let me see what we're going to do. For those of you, I forgot to tell you who this is really for. Listen, for everybody, really. But for folks that are having conversations that are being tired of being dismissed, dealing with the medical profession, getting run around, can't seem to find the truth, feeling lost in the system. Nothing like not just uncomfortable already. Most folks are uncomfortable talking and dealing with the professionals in this space, and now they're feeling lost and ignored and rejected and trying to stay strong, right? And what we're going to get really quickly is practice something about practical advocacy, things that you can do right away that you can apply right now. If you're going to the hospital or wherever you're going today, you can apply it right now. How to prepare for appointments, really important. Asking better questions. And encouragement for your days when you really don't feel like you can do it. That's really mindset tools. So I don't know if we're going to get to all this, but I'm going to be quiet now and bring to Conversations with Jeff our next guest, my dear friend, Tiffany Colvin. All right, now, what's going on there?
Hello to you and your audience today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for coming with us. So, we talked about this over the weekend. We had some things going on, so we're going to jump right in it. But is there anything that you would like? I always like to kind of kick off something to give somebody that can't stay something to think about that will uplift their life. What's the message before we get started that you can say to someone that's like, man, that's what I needed today? And then we'll get into why we're here today.
Well, I always say that every day is a gift and we have to open it with intentionality and purpose. And so we have to unwrap it. No matter what it looks like on the outside, we never know the treasure of what's inside. Because sometimes it might look like this day I'm waking up and I feel bad. My kids are a mess. My hair's a mess, But the thing about it is this, that sometimes inside of the worst packages, we find the greatest treasures. And so even on today, understand that what we want to encourage you with is the fact that God may be throwing all these things at you. For me, it was healthcare challenges with myself as well as my children. But what I had to understand is that you cannot isolate. Isolation, it gives the enemy a means of attack. But if you learn to find your tribe, find your group, find those people that are going to surround you. And sometimes we think that that's our natural family, but sometimes it is not. My parents left me. So I no longer had that cocoon of that parental influence. But God will always send you what they call the ram in the bush. There'll be somebody out here in this world, whether that's listening to this podcast and understanding that you are not alone. So don't ever feel like you are alone, because there's somebody out here that God has placed in this world just for you.
Yeah, I love that. So keep going. If not for yourself, for them.
Yes.
You know, there's power in seeking to serve others, and it just kind of moves us, right? Take a focus off of ourselves, and we find joy in serving other people. So I love that. Thank you so much. So look, you know, there's a lot of things on here, but you said something that's really important. I mean, you've been through the dealings of all the things that go on with the system, and at what point did you say, man, this is crazy, I got to figure out something else? How was that for you?
Well, I dealt with it myself personally, and with my children. And so what I had to understand is that I had to be my greatest advocate. I always think about the verse in the Bible that says, because of a lack of knowledge, the people perish. And so in our community, we really have to hone in on the fact that a lot of times we don't have the same information as our counterparts. So we have to not be upset by the system, but begin to understand the system. And how we do that is by gaining the knowledge that we need in order to be proactive and to be reactive to whatever may come our way.
Yeah, you know, I like that. And I mean, this conversation is just going to be real talk about what we experience in our lives, right? That people of color versus some other options. And some, I want to add this to what you just said. We have to, we were, as a community, when we look at physicians and we look at the medical professionals, we automatically gave them grace that they didn't necessarily deserve. You know, it was kind of, we saw them higher than ourselves, and therefore, whatever they said, we listened to. We never challenged anything. And if we knew we weren't, if you're feeling like you're not getting treated fairly, then you probably aren't, right? But to ignore that and just move forward and tuck our head, I mean, that's that. But the advocacy you're talking about and this message today can help us understand, right?
Absolutely.
That hey, you know, you are the patient, and you deserve to be treated as that. And how do you stand up for yourself, right? And so I just I don't know. I mean,
that is so good. And what you're explaining is the fact that we have to remember that they are called practitioners, so they are practicing. And so sometimes we have to help them through that dress rehearsal. We have to say, you know what, this is what I'm seeing. You know, this is what I am experiencing. And it's not to say that they are wrong, but it is learning how to how to cooperatively work together and corroborate and work together to solve the problem. So what is the problem? Are we addressing the fact that, hey, I have this symptomology? How are we going to work together? How are we going to collaborate and work together to solve the problem? Because I am coming to you with my problem. These are the things that I'm experiencing. Now, if I'm seeing pushback, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Well, I read this. And so tell me, am I wrong here? Am I right here? It's not to be adversarial, but it is to bring forth the information and let them know what we know and what we don't know. And then what we don't know, that's an opportunity for us both to learn. Yeah.
And I like that, Tiffany, and especially nowadays, there's There's no reason why we can't educate ourselves. Now we have to validate the information that we receive,
That's right.
but we have access to the information, and at least levels it kind of helps remove some of the intimidation around it, so you can begin to speak their language. So so we have a responsibility
Yes.
to do that piece of it, but it is available, and I like that, and it works.
It does.
Right? And to the defense of the medical professions, man, everybody's getting squeezed.
That's right.
And time is of the essence, and all that kind of stuff. So we understand. My brother-in-law's a physician, and aunties, sisters, mom in the medical profession. So I get it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, but we want people still to listen closely.
Yes.
Because it's our responsibility at the end of the day. So I appreciate that. So go ahead. I'll just do my best to be quiet.
Yes, no, that is so true. Now in the system, what we see, like you said, time is of the essence. So you have a physician who is now in the space that, hey, maybe they have 20 minutes to secure information, put in their notes, do all of that. So how do we make the best use of our time? First of all, we need to prepare. We need to prepare. And I didn't think about this until I actually experienced it. I was dealing with a medical challenge, and I was like, well, oh my gosh, I'm having a reaction to this medication. And I could try to verbalize that to my physician, but it just really wasn't going anywhere. I was like, no, this is what's happening. And it didn't dawn on me until that moment. In the moment, I decided, you know what? We have access to technology today. So one thing I encourage is utilize the technology that you have at your fingertips. If you have a symptom or a sign, take a picture of it. Take a picture, take a video. And dealing with children that may have some difficult challenges, let's say with autism. I deal with two sons. My sons were diagnosed with autism. It would take me 8 years of dealing with their symptomology, looking at the delays that I was seeing to actually get someone to listen to me. And so one thing I challenge people to do is take a video. If you see some behaviors that might seem strange, if you're seeing delays, take video, show your practitioner, bring evidence and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think about this? Is this normal? Is this something that I should worry about? And then ask, what can I do? It is seeing it. So you and I talked the other day, and we were joking around, and we came up with this acronym kind of SIP, to sip on something. And so sometimes we can't take a full drink of something. We're like, you know what? This is too much, but we can take a sip. Right. So my sip comes, I'm going to explain it like this. So sip, first, you suspect something. If you suspect something, you're probably right. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to investigate it. You want to investigate it. And then the third thing you want to do is you want to problem solve. Okay. So we're not just going to take in this information, but we're going to do something about it. We're going to investigate, and then we're going to problem solve. We're going to figure out who is best to help us problem solve. So I'm gonna let you sip on that for a minute and hear what you have to say.
I love it when we talked about it. I think that is important, and people, there's still going to be some folks that say this is really good, but I don't know how, and how can I get someone like you to help me, right? I mean, an advocate can perform for me and fill in the gaps. How accessible are those folks? And if they are, what do people do to get a hold of them?
Sure. So typically what you will see is what I tell people to do is if we know we have a diagnosis, I know my sons have autism. So what I want to do is in my community, I want to look for resources that are specific to that. There's the Autism Society, Autism Speaks. But also from there, branch out to your larger organizations that may be all encompassing of disabilities, your disability developmental centers around. You're going to look for resources in those areas and spaces. And you're going to ask, hey, do you guys have any mentorship programs? Do you have any liaisons, especially in the children's hospital systems? A lot of times you will find what they call parent liaisons. In the school systems, sometimes we are so limited in our thoughts that we think, oh, healthcare only means in the hospital. Well, it can mean in the community. It can mean out in your school systems. And sometimes it's a matter of getting a referral from a doctor into these places or spaces. So don't just be limited by that specific environment, but look outside. You can contact me by email or Facebook. You're free to contact me. A lot of states have what are called peer mentors that will help you through, trying to find resources or things to help. So don't just sit isolated by yourself in your home, like I did in the beginning, saying, you know what, I don't know that there's any help out here. Educate yourself, advocate for yourself, and then look for the resources that are available to you.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And you kind of gave some steps, and it kind of leads into preparation. One of the things we were going to talk about is preparing for appointments.
Yes.
So all of those different things that you're talking about, right, can prepare that, and then even finding people that will go with you in these appointments that, will give you the courage sometimes, right? I mean, and to make sure that two sets of ears are better than one, and you can confer back and forth afterwards. So I like all that, and encourage you for appointments and ask better questions, right? Yeah. I mean, you can become, with all this information, all you say, to ask better questions. So really, there's no excuse, right? For all those complaining over here, there's no excuse. So y'all got to stop complaining. Get your butts busy doing your own work.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
And we're on both sides of this table, right? I mean, we got folks like you that are available, and I know past experiences may have taken a little fire away from you, but that's then.
Yes.
Right. And you're doing that stuff now. So I like that. So, I mean, let's just talk for a minute about the emotional drain.
Yes.
Right. I mean, when we're busy and I mean, you're here today with a big, beautiful smile as always. But I mean, there were times when it was like, it had to have been. I mean, we were bad kids, right? Just anyhow, we were busy kids. And so I know we put a burden on our parents.
Yes.
But we were able to make, we didn't have some of the things that special needs children have. And so, but the parent, talk to me about that, and let's peel back some layers and this helps some folks that are like, man, I don't think I can take one more day.
Absolutely, because those were the words that I uttered. It was like every day was, God, just let me make it through today. And what I learned from that is sometimes it is simply that it is putting one foot in front of the next each and every day, and understanding that, hey, God gives us our daily bread. It is not for the next day or the next day or the next day, because guess what? It will mold, right? Sometimes if he gave us too much at once, it will mold. So he gives us our daily bread. That we can focus on that day, even if it's that one thing. And I remember I began to organize my day, and I would say, you know what, this is my list. I did a to-do list. These are the things that I can achieve today, and I hope to achieve today. And that kept me organized. And as you are out and you are dealing with the burden, sometimes it feels like a burden, but I look at it as a gift. that God entrusted to me, that said, you know what? You have the broad shoulders to be able to deal with what I'm going to give you, because it is a gift. And so dealing with children with special needs, whether that's from diabetes, autism, Down syndrome, whatever the gift may be, understand that the first thing you need to do is make sure that you are okay as a caregiver, and understand that you have to give yourself grace, and understanding that this is something that God has given you, and that you have to prepare yourself each and every day by renewing your mind and saying, you know what? I've got to change my stinking thinking and not look at it as a negative, but look at it as a positive. Look at the fact that I had to, and one day I was mentoring, and I met a mother whose son had passed away. And it made me look at my circumstance totally different. She would love to be sitting where I am, taking care of her child.
Wow.
You know, then I got to sit with another mother who, her child was in the hospital attached to tubes. And I thought about the fact that I'm complaining about what my children can't do. So there's always somebody in a worse situation than you. So you have to recognize that we have to find the beauty in whatever situation we are in. And I think when we do that, we start to understand that my life is not so bad. It's not so bad. We begin to blossom, and that helps our children, or those who we're taking care of, to blossom, because what they say, if mama's not good, nobody in the house is good. Right?
Yes, they do say that, and that is a very true statement.
It is true.
And you know, when you said what you said, I got tears in my eyes thinking about that distinction.
Yeah.
Right. When we get so lost and caught up, and there are people like that. And you have every right to feel as though that, because that's a heavy load. I'm not going to try and imagine what that load is, other than the fact that I know it's a heavy load.
Yes.
You know, and but you said something really powerful about the broader shoulders, right? That you've been given to carry the load like that. And I believe that's all part of what we talk about on this show, Tiffany, around, shifting. Those things, we look at that as the blessing, not the curse.
Yes.
Right. We see that as there's something greater in this for me, with the relationship with my children, and be able to help other people like you're doing now. I mean, it's wow.
Yes.
It's amazing that you do that.
Imagine if I had never gone through this, I would not have the empathy or the sympathy or the compassion to speak to other people. So we think that what we're going through is about us, but most of the time it's not. It's about somebody else that God wants your story to affect. And so that they will remember when they are going through it, they're like, oh my gosh, I remember that Tiffany went through that. I remember that Jeff went through that. If they can make it through it, then I can make it through it. So we are the walking witnesses in the earth.
Walking witnesses, and I like to call it the hope shot, baby.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That hope shot,
that's right.
That kind of gives us that ability to take one more step, like you talked about.
That's right.
And that's a mantra my wife says, hey, however heavy it is, however tired you might be, just ask for one more step. And put one foot in front of the other.
Yes.
Yeah, and we get there. So we're doing all that stuff. So, man, thank you so much for what we're talking about so far. And I want to make sure you talked about some tools and community and all that. Can you share maybe one of the more difficult times you had? In your journey, and what you did in that case?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure you got a bunch.
Yes. So for me, what was the most difficult time of life was I was dealing with I had given birth. My children were premature. They were born at 37 weeks. 10 days later, my father passed away from multiple myeloma cancer. Then on top of that, I ended up experiencing my own mobility issues, which caused me to have a period of time that I was actually in a wheelchair. At the same time, my mother is being diagnosed with colorectal cancer. I am her full-time only caretaker. From a wheelchair, I am taking care of her, myself, and here comes added bonus of I now am fighting with a system in order to have my children properly diagnosed. They began to have developmental delays, things I was seeing, and I was pushing back in the healthcare system, in the educational system, and I was saying, hey, something is wrong, hear me. And I was not being heard. And so it would be 8 years of fighting and challenging the system and saying, hey, there's something not right, until one day someone actually listened to me and they said, okay, let's go ahead and run this testing. I had gone to my children's hospital locally, gone there, got tested. They told me absolutely, sent out almost a cease and desist letter to my doctor and said, hey, they do not have autism. Until 8 years later, went in, and in 20 minutes, they said, absolutely, they have autism. So with that being said, it is just an example that when you suspect something and you think, and deep down, even as a caregiver, as a mother, as a sister, a brother, that something is wrong, go with your gut. And don't allow someone that may have a better, they may have some credentials behind their names. Don't reduce down. Don't say, you know what I'm thinking or feeling doesn't mean anything, because it does. Had I not continuously pushed back, my children would not have the correct diagnosis. And in the interim, I decided, just like I said, the P in that SIP is I decided to be a problem solver. Regardless of what they were doing, I took the proactive actions of getting them the therapies, getting the help that I could. So we don't just want to sit back and do nothing. We want to be part of the solution. We want to be part of that. So to those that are out there that are saying, you know what, I don't know if I can make it one more day, know that you can make it. Know that, hey, what you are experiencing, you are not alone, but there are people out here that are willing to help you and share the information that they have. And if you need to get in contact with me, feel free. I have people contact me from all across the United States, because a lot of times the systems may be different in the States, but the way to access them are pretty much the same. So don't sit by yourself. Understand that there are those that are out here that are willing to support you in whatever way that we can.
Yeah. And wow, that's an amazing story. And 8 years into it, at the end of your wits, because I mean, you start to own some of this stuff. Like, maybe I am crazy. Maybe it's just, all this stuff is something I deserve, and you're carrying all this weight, and you keep going and keep hearing that. So you never stop. And, and again, reality is that people of color have misdiagnosis at a higher percentage than any other folks. So, I mean, these are realities, but she just gave y'all some things that y'all can do, right? One is never quit. Don't cry. We got to be responsible. If you ain't gonna do no work, we're not gonna make a difference with your own energy. Then,
yes,
we're gonna pray for you anyway, right? And keep coming to these meetings and make sure you learn from folks. But I mean, you did that, and I'm thinking, man, wow, how lucky, how fortunate are your kids?
Yes.
Right. I mean, to do that, and just I mean, how the
Yeah.
sometimes our journeys lead us down paths that only those that are in them can understand.
Yes. Yeah.
And parenting is not an easy job.
No, it's not.
And the things that you're doing, special needs, is really a gift. And you know, I have I think I may have mentioned a young man who has special needs, his autistic son, and he's large. So let's talk for a minute about situations when your children might frighten you,
Yeah.
right? Or you're uncomfortable with a certain part of the behavior. What can you talk to us about in terms of how to maybe get help, obviously, but if you
Sure.
can't get help, what are some things maybe they can do?
So what I found is even when my sons were young, what we typically see in the educational system is our children will be defined as oppositional, or they have
Mm,
ADHD, and that is the first label that they tend to try to stick. But a lot of times it may be that they actually do have autism, or they have some other disability that has not yet been diagnosed. So one thing I just believe in doing is, before we get to any type of medications or anything like that, is, as a parent, taking the role of practitioner and saying, you know what can I do? Behavior modifications.
yeah,
A lot of children require some type of routineness. So the onus is on you as the parent to be proactive and say, you know what, let's make a schedule. So one thing I had is, I called it mommy work. And every day for 2 hours a day, when my children came home, we would do what was called mommy work. I had a schedule so that they knew, from, let's say, 3 o'clock to 3:15, you got a snack. Then we're going to work on reading for 45 minutes. Then we're going to work on math. Then we're going to work on social studies. Then we're going to work on our social skill building, those types of things. And then guess what? Built in that into that schedule was free time, because we don't want the child to feel like, oh,
mm,
I'm just so restricted, I can't do anything. And if they
yeah,
need breaks or whatever they need, that's fine. And I also made it fun. I looked on the internet, to learn our multiplication
yeah,
tables. We learned it through a rap song. We have to think outside of the
yeah,
box so that
yeah,
it's fun for them. It's not just mommy's making me do this. Nah, I had some pushback, but it was
yeah,
understanding that I, as the parent, have to do the behavioral modifications, and I have to be
yeah,
disciplined in order to teach them discipline, in order to
yeah,
get the outcome that I want in the behavior, and incentivize it, create some type of
mm,
system within your household that says, hey, if you do this, this is going to be your reward. My kids loved Krispy
yeah.
Kreme donuts. So when they went to school, if they were good for 2 weeks, guess what? You'll get a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. And by incentivizing it, it made it fun, and it made something for them to build up to. And I didn't see a lot of
Yeah,
the poor behaviors that a lot of people see. That's not to say that they don't happen, and don't, as a parent, feel bad if your child is experiencing those behaviors. One thing you can do is look and see if there's any type of resources that provide behavioral interventions. If it gets out of hand, there are facilities that help with this as well. But it is so important that you don't just isolate, but that you get information. And if you can't find the information, there is someone out there that can help you. If it is accessing your local healthcare systems, if it is finding resources that are outside of the parameters of your income, and saying, hey, what is it? How can I get some help? Are there respite funds available? Are there camps available? Are there after school programs available? Are there intervention programs, especially in our communities, that are willing to help with my situation? Again, don't sit there alone. Find your tribe, find your village to assist you.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot, man. So I encourage everybody that's hearing this, catching it, whatever you do, go back and take a lot of notes, because I'm supposed to be interviewing, and I got 2 or 3 pages of notes myself, right? Because it's just so practical,
Yes,
simple to do, and there's no reason, and none of this stuff costs you a dime. So anyone crying about don't have the money to do it, nothing I've heard so far cost anything to do to follow the SIP,
yes,
right? Process it and do that. So Tiffany, look, man, we're almost out of time. So I wanted to spend this last few minutes talking about your upcoming event that you're doing, and maybe how folks, is it going to be virtual? But talk about that for just a second.
Yes. So on this Thursday, there is a panel discussion that is going on in regards to disparities in the healthcare system. And what we are not here to put down the medical community or anything, but to learn how the art of collaboration and how we can solve the problems that we see. You know, in our community, a lot of times we tend to hide things under the rug, especially when we see developmental disabilities. We say, you know what, Uncle such and such, he was just he was touched. You know, they
a little slow.
but we don't search any further. There have been advances in DNA research. There have been advances that are out there that are able to help us fine tune our studies and understanding why these diagnoses are more prevalent in our communities. So what we want to do on Thursday, there's a group of us, all different arrays of disabilities, people of brown color, African American, all different types of people that are going to be on this panel. And we're going to discuss what we can do, how we can work together in order to get information out, get resources, and ensure that we are able to advocate for our children, for our family members, for our spouses, for whoever is in our family. And so we want to encourage people to listen in, because again, because of a lack of knowledge, the people perish, and we don't want to see one perish. No, not one.
Yeah, I love that. And Carlton said purposeful, intentionality, right?
Yeah.
Making a point to do that. That event sounds phenomenal. So, is there a link that
there is, and I will get it to you. It is for the state of Ohio, but people all over, please listen in, because like I said, even if you're not in Ohio and you're in another state, the systems are pretty much the same, and a lot of the resources may be nationwide. So we want to make sure that you just get connected.
Yeah. And also too, I just want to throw this out there since we're talking about it. Oftentimes, there's clinical tests that are being done, and they're asking for volunteers, and I think hopefully maybe part of that discussion is putting that out there in our communities, because we are the last to be tested. We are the last group to be involved in these types of tests. So the diagnoses that are coming from don't necessarily come from the makeup of the different individuals, right? More of the ones that show up. Yes. So I want anybody hearing that, and you see these clinical tests and you want to make a difference, I'm sure there's information on they can get to how to do that.
Absolutely. Yes. And that is a very good point. And not even just clinical tests, but a lot of times, even people who are working on their doctorates or things like that have opportunities for our demographic, but we don't participate. And so think about that the next time you see someone that says, you know what, I'm doing a study. Well, this is how they get their information, and this is how we help our community and essentially help our future.
Yeah. No. Thank you for supporting that. Well, I'm gonna give you like one more minute. If there's anything that I have left untouched or unfinished that you'd like to wrap up before we get out of here.
I just want to say that, I appreciate you. I appreciate the space that you have provided for people to find healing from heartbreak, because one of the biggest heartbreaks is a mother's heart and a father's heart when they think that all is lost, when they think, you know what, my child now has this diagnosis, they're not going to be what I thought they would be. But the thing is that there is still hope and a future for them. And so we don't want to reduce them down just because they have a label. And I tell people this, sometimes you need to label to get the things that you need. And so when you think of it in terms of that, you can let that go and grieve that for a moment. You get to the grace, give yourself the grace to grieve the fact that there is a loss, but it all is not lost. There is a loss, but all is not lost. And so we can go from heartbreak to healing and understand that this too shall pass, and God will this to happen in your life. And so I just tell people to go with God and know that they can come back from anything, from the comeback king. I just thank you for the opportunity just to speak to your audience today.
Yeah, no, wonderful time. And maybe we have you back after the session and maybe have some things that we can talk about and get it out ahead of time so people can maybe do a little exercise and do something like that. So I'm asking now, so we can kind of look at the schedule to do that. So Tiffany, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, man. And the people coming this Thursday are in for a treat.
Yes.
So we thank you, and have a fantastic day, and we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
All right, you too. Take care now. So, hey, listen, guys, I wasn't joking about the notes. I mean, I would encourage you to go back and listen to this conversation. Slow it down, rewind it, grab some friends that you know that are maybe struggling in this space. Do not keep this information to yourself. That's right. I mean, all this stuff is really practical, logical, and it's something that's going to help you prepare yourself for other things in your life outside of what we're talking about here. So please, please, please take another look at this, take another listen at this, and remember, as she said, right, it's flipping the switch on the stinking thinking. It's flipping the switch on the impossibility thinking, and stepping into an opportunity to be part of a community that cares. So I want to thank everybody and see if I have anything else that I want to leave out here. Don't stay in this space by yourself. There's folks out there. If anyone wanting to get a hold of Tiffany and you can't find her, make sure you reach out to me, and the information for the link that the event that she has, if you want that, we'll make sure you get that. And lastly, and most importantly, like I said at the very beginning of this show, we are bringing folks in here, right, to amplify the message around the comeback stories and taking you from heartbreak to healing, from stinking thinking to your truths, and isolation to communities that care. So don't wait, don't hesitate. And if you're looking for a community, we've got one from heartbreak to healing, and we focus on these very subjects and relationships and leadership and health. So thank you again for listening. Subscribe, share, set up your notification. This year is our year in collaboration with Comeback King Enterprises and Conversations with Jeff. Stay tuned for some tremendous opportunities to flip that switch on your stinking thinking, step into a new way to live. All right, have a fantastic day. Reach out to my guest. She's a powerful lady and she will respond. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.